you know, that was um, unusual. I'm not sure what to say about this. This was this was very interesting. Um, well, another beyond body experience, and it came in an unexpected time. Now, I want to get right into this. It wasn't a long experience, but there were a few things that I really wanted to take in when I was doing it, to try and really feel a few things, to feel a few things out. So let me move forward with this. First of all, I have to be careful what I have on when I am doing this sound wise. And one of the things is, with me, I've always been able to either astral project or, in this case, do beyond body without getting myself always into a ideal condition or having ideal conditions around me. In other words, there are times when I have had talk radio or anything that had talking in the backdrop. Now, I honestly didn't know this was going to happen. I mean, I didn't think about it. I was just in my bed, I was laying back, I was relaxed, and I didn't really think too much about it. I mean, I was kind of laying there and I was like, okay, well, I kind of thought about it, but then again, I was kind of sitting and listening to this talk background. And as I was listening to it, at one point, my state of consciousness changed. Now, I always talk to you about this feeling of motion, this feeling of speed, but that is not always the case. It is not always consistent that this is the case, and in this case, it was not. In this case, it was that sense, and I have talked about this before, where I move off the bed or a force moves me off the bed. So I don't go shooting into space. I literally come off the bed, or at least that's what it feels like. And by the way, I want to also emphasize to you that this is what it feels like. What is actually happening, I'm never sure. I'm never sure about the movement, in the sense of I don't know what it actually is. And so when I say it feels like I went almost head first off my bed, and then I started gliding on the ground. That's what it felt like. What I was actually doing, I'm not exactly sure how I was transporting. But this is how I felt the movement. I came off my bed. I was gliding close to the ground, but not for very long, and I did not go very far. At least that's my belief. When I came up, it was dark. Now it's dark here. It's about 8:29 in the evening, but it was dark there too. I remember a chair and I remember some furniture. I was in an apartment and I was with there was an Asian, a young Asian lady was staring at me. She was, she had short dark hair, I think, brown eyes, um, definitely short. I wish I could remember more about the house. When I was in the house, I kind of took a look around, but I was more focused on her. And it was interesting because when I first came into this place, one thing I want you to note is that in the beginning, she blurred out for a second. Like I couldn't see her. It was like, and I stumbled a little bit. Now, in some of my beyond body experiences, I've told you that at times I stumble, I have to try and keep my balance because I feel kind of shaky at times. This time I felt a little bit of that. I felt a little bit of a balance issue, and I did when I tried to look at her, everything went blurry for a second, and then she went clear again. Now, I will again tell you that a part of this, I believe, is because my conditions were not ideal for me to maintain my body in a way. I mean, I wasn't breathing like I have before. I wasn't taking breaths, and I could hear the talk radio in the background, and it was interfering with the sound or the voice of this very beautiful Asian lady. Very beautiful. She couldn't have been more than maybe 27, 28. She was young, and I couldn't see her that well, but I saw her enough to know that she was Asian. I went up to her, and it felt in my heart like I knew her. I I hugged her immediately. I hugged her. I embraced her. But I have to tell you that at first there was some hesitation on her end. I think she backed off. Again, I wish I wouldn't have had the talk radio on, because then I would have understood exactly maybe what she was saying, but I couldn't understand her words because the noise in the background was interfering, and I could hear it in the background as I was having this experience. So I got to learn my lesson. I didn't know that this was going to happen, so this was a kind of a surprise to me. So at one point, we embraced. Now, I think in the very beginning, it was a little awkward. Like, she was trying to say, like, I don't think she was saying, "Who are you?" I wish I knew exactly what she was saying. I couldn't. I couldn't hear her. But I'd imagine maybe that. And in fact, I was thinking, she's thinking, who is this person that just appeared in my house? I don't know. I'm not sure. I do remember embracing her. I do remember hugging her. We held each other and we kissed for a while. Now, when I held her, I tried to smell her just to see if I had a sense of smell, because I don't know, it was as if I think I had the feeling that I hadn't seen this person for a while and I missed them. And when I tried to smell them in, I couldn't smell anything necessarily. But I will tell you that when I held her, I felt her arms, I felt the warmth and the coolness at certain points of her body. And I felt her embrace. I felt her. I mean, wow, the Beyond Body is absolutely amazing. I mean, I was actually having an encounter with someone that I don't know, but that somehow I felt like I did. And honestly, I mean, we kissed as if we had been romantically involved for a very long time. And when we held each other, it was really tight. In fact, at one point, she was holding me so tight, I think we fell to the ground. And I had to try and pull myself away from her. That's how tightly she held me. And at some point, I remember I pulled away, and then I was back. I was back here in my bed. Um, it was a very interesting experience. Short, but what my takeaway from this was that um, that sense of feeling someone, of feeling another body. I mean, that was real, and being in that place, it was absolutely, positively fascinating, interesting. Anyway, that's it. That was my experience. Um, thank you so much for coming on another journey with me. And until next time, take care.